Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Give me some yeses in the comments if you can hear me, because I think you can, and we'll get cracking. Hope everyone is well. It's Friday, the end of the week. The Euro 2020 final is on Sunday, 2 days away. I know not all of you are English, and not all of you care, but for me, a very big England fan. I can't wait for that. And hopefully Bukayo Saka can do the business and end 55 years of hurt. Anyway, let's not talk about England. Let's talk about Arsenal, shall we? And I haven't done one of these in a while. I haven't done as many videos recently as well. I've been really busy. It's been really tough to get time at the moment. So I thought I'd pop in here. I've got sort of 25 minutes, half an hour to spare today just to talk about whatever you want. Ask me some questions. I'll bring some of these questions up. And we'll go over the latest when it comes to Arsenal transfers. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet. I put out a story. Please do if you check my social media. We'll go to goal.com. You got a story that Arsenal have now agreed a deal in principle with Albert Lokonga. That one is getting ever closer. He's going to have his medical over in Belgium before completing his move. It'll be about £18 million, 15 million initial payment. The add-ons could rise to about £18 million if various clauses are met. He will follow Nuno Tavares as an Arsenal signing this summer. Tavares has been there since Friday, obviously has been in isolation, quarantine ahead of his move. I understand he is at London Colney today, though Nuno Tavares, I think it's his first day at London Colney today. So that move is edging ever closer to being finalised and announced and confirmed. So, yeah, that's one ticked off, hopefully followed by another one ticked off. I think Tavares has got a good chance of being in the travelling party who head up to Scotland on Monday for Arsenal's week-long or 5-day training camp in Scotland. I'm told that it's very, very unlikely Lokonga will be involved in that, because once he has his medical over in Belgium, once he finally does make the trip over here, he's going to have to do what Tavares did and isolate for like 5 to 7 days before he gets the green light to come out. So he's more than likely going to be involved, you would think, in the trip to America, but not to Scotland. Okay, everyone, let's talk and let's answer some of your questions. Lots of them going through here. So we will start. Where should we start? Lots of you talking about Brahim Arwar being in London. Look, Roshan said it here. Brahim Arwar, the brother of Houssem Arwar, and agent as well. That's tough to really call him his agent because Arwar is connected with Wasserman Agency as well, so there's plenty of other people who look after him. Brahim was obviously in the news last year for some people sort of blaming him for the reason why the move didn't happen for Arwar last summer because of agent fee demands and things like that. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but yes, I've seen the picture that Brahim Arwar is in London. Whether that's anything to do with Arsenal, I can't confirm it or not. He might just be over here for the Euros. Who knows? But it's very interesting. In terms of Arwar and Pranav here actually asked for updates on Arwar. I mean, there's nothing really much to update in what's happened in the last couple of days. There's this interest in Arsenal. Reports over in France saying a bid has been made. Over here, it's not quite as backed up as that. Certainly interest there. I mean, it makes perfect sense for me, and this is my opinion on the whole Arwar thing, is that, Arsenal, they were so convinced about him last summer that they were willing to pay around £40 million or whatever I think they bid like 35, something like that for him last summer. It wasn't enough, but if they were convinced enough to bid that amount of money this last summer, then surely if you can get him for £22 million, which appears to be the case this summer, then it's an absolute no-brainer. Quality player, very young, really high ceiling, scores goals, sets up goals. Just ticks all the boxes, and for that sort of price, so I think it's an absolute bargain. And I know a lot of people say, he didn't have a good season last season. Potentially not, but I think his head had been turned a little bit by what happened the previous summer in terms of his future and the transfer talks. And also, I don't think he had that bad a season. He still scored 8 goals or something and set up plenty more as well. And when you look at those numbers compared to other Arsenal midfielder numbers, they're decent. So I'd be all over Houssem Arwar, I have to say, if that is happening. Ben White News asks Finley, well, the latest on Ben White is that still a deal has not been agreed between the two clubs. I'm told Arsenal are very, very confident that they can get this one over the line, but until it's done, then you've got to put the celebration on ice if you want to celebrate it. A lot of you don't want to celebrate it because it's a lot of money and you feel it's potentially a little bit too much money. But still, the latest on Ben White is a deal hasn't been done, but it's always been the case for me. I think this is something that's going to really progress once England are out of the Euros and once White comes away from that England bubble, and then the deal can really progress. Personally, for me, right now, I would, if you're going to pin me down and say, are Arsenal going to sign Ben White this summer? I would say yes, but that's a hunch. That's where I'm kind of nearing towards here. That Arsenal believe they can still get this deal done from Brighton. Talks have been ongoing. They're amicable between the clubs. It's just a matter of getting the exact deal and structure of the deal, and that's what hasn't been worked out yet, is the exact structure. Arsenal are willing to sort of meet the demands of Brighton, but they want to structure it in a way where obviously they don't pay as much straight up front and all that, and that's where negotiations are at the moment. So that's the latest on Ben White. Ibez says, is Ruben Neves' interest genuine? Well, yes, it is. Arsenal are interested in Ruben Neves, but as far as I'm aware, it hasn't gone beyond that stage yet. There's been no sort of firm offer made or anything like that. There's just been informal talks with Wolves that happened a long time ago, right towards the start of the window. Arsenal putting the feelers out with various players because they know that Granit Xhaka more than likely will not be here next season. That move to Roma, everyone expects will eventually get done once negotiations sort of reach a level that everyone is happy at. It's not happened yet, but I think the expectation is Granit Xhaka will go. And then Arsenal are going to need to bring someone in, because Lokonga you don't really look at as your out-and-out replacement for Xhaka. He's young, he's inexperienced, he's not played at the top level in Europe's top league, and it'd be a big ask to come in and replace someone like Granit Xhaka. So you need an experienced player who can come in and do that and fit in straight away alongside Thomas Partey. And Ruben Neves is certainly a player on the list of potential targets, but there are others as well. Locatelli, obviously over in Italy, I've spoken about him and the situation with him. He's another one on the list. So the Neves interest, Ibez 42, is absolutely genuine, but it hasn't gone beyond interest yet. Sothy Song, Madison, please. I would not be against that happening, I have to say. But in terms of if it is going to happen, I just don't know. And I can't imagine it would if Arsenal go out and sign Houssem Aouar. I don't think you get both Aouar and Madison. So we'll have to wait and see how that all moves forward as the summer progresses. But obviously Arsenal need to get this sorted out. Emile Smith-Rowe contract. He's back at London Colney this week. Arsenal need to get him and his agent in a room at London Colney and not let them out until this contract gets signed, because I'm getting fed up with Aston Villa making bids for Emile Smith-Rowe. Arsenal, born and bred, well, certainly since a very young age, London boy, playing week in, week out in the first team at Arsenal with his mates. Why on earth are we even talking about, or people even talking about the prospect of him leaving? Just get that contract done. Arsenal, in answer to your question, Stan, I mean, there's no update from what I've previously said about this. Arsenal is still very, very confident that they're going to get this done. They believe it's close, and it's just a case of getting it over the line. They know what Smith-Rowe wants and his agent wants. And they're not too concerned by this noise about Aston Villa coming from Aston Villa, and their stance with Smith-Rowe, as it has always been, is absolutely not for sale, and that they think he will sign a new contract. This is a big one. As asked Pat, what do you think of these Amazon documentary? Well, if some of you haven't seen this yet, it's news has emerged today that Arsenal are going to be this season's pick for Amazon's All or Nothing documentary. Filming is going to start in a couple of weeks. It's going to cover the whole season, behind the scenes at London Colney, behind the scenes with the squad with Mikel Arteta. What do I think of it? I can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm absolutely stunned Arsenal have agreed to do this. I have to say, it's something that Arsenal, you don't really have, when you work like I do behind the scenes, and you know how Arsenal operates. So, they're a club that do not like airing their laundry, whether it be clean or dirty, in public. And so it's a real surprise to me that they have agreed to do this. I have to say, initially when I saw the story this morning, I thought that's got to be wrong. That's got to be fake. And I was stunned when I spoke to someone at Arsenal and they confirmed it to me. I was very, very surprised. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Pat. It's going to be fun. I think if you'd have done it last season or the season before, my word, it would have been packed full of drama. Be interesting to see if that's the case this season. Will Arsenal have a little bit more of a quieter season this year as they plot to get back into Europe? They will certainly hope so. But it's going to be an intriguing watch, I have to admit. Basuma news. I'm afraid I don't have any Basuma news. Unfortunately, yes, he's a player who Arsenal have looked at the past. Obviously linked with him very, very heavily, consistently linked with him. But as far as I'm aware, nothing's happened with Basuma and Arsenal yet. Aqib asks, why are Arsenal going for Ramsdale? Well, they obviously think he's a good goalkeeper. That's why. They want to start. I mean, the goalkeeper situation at Arsenal is a little bit of a mess at the moment. Runarsson is close to a move to Turkey. That is being discussed. Hasn't been done yet. He's at London Colney at the moment, so you never know. He might end up staying. But I think we all know that Runarsson really isn't good enough for Arsenal. So you've got that situation you need to sort out. Matt Ryan obviously filled in last season, but he's gone back to Brighton. Looks like he might be going to Real Sociedad. So Arsenal really need to sort things out. Arthur Okonkwo as well, very highly rated young goalkeeper. He hasn't signed his new contract yet. He's out of contract this summer. All the signs is that he is going to sign it, and Arsenal rate him really, really highly. And whenever you talk to people at Arsenal about the goalkeeper situation, they're very, very keen constantly to point out that Arthur's name. That's how much they really rate him. So I think he's certainly going to be in and around the first team next season. Sorry, I just had a message pop up on my phone that I was intrigued to read what it was. And so, yeah, the keeper situation needs to be sorted. Nothing's happened with Andre Onana since that original interest. I think Arsenal probably a little bit disappointed that his ban wasn't reduced anywhere near as much as they were hoping. From the Court of Arbitration for Sport, he's not allowed to play until November, so that's probably put them off that idea for now. And Ramsdale's a keeper. I don't think Ramsdale's an awful goalkeeper. I have to admit, there's been a lot of reaction to him not being good enough. I think you ask any Sheffield United keeper, yes, they went down last season, but he was player of the season. He played very, very well. It was the same for Bournemouth the season before that. So he's a decent goalkeeper. But yeah, I mean, it feels like a lot of money for me if you're going to spend 30 million plus on Aaron Ramsdale. Don't know. There's got to be better options potentially out there than him. But there was, we'll just have to see. While Bernd Leno's there, I can't imagine Arsenal will sign Ramsdale while Leno is still there. So Leno's on holiday at the moment, so his future needs to be sorted once he gets back. No. Don't know on this one yet, Curtis. A lot of people asking about the home shirt release date. Not sure yet. It's all been kept very much under wraps by Arsenal and Adidas. I would imagine, Arsenal playing against Hibs on Tuesday in their first pre-season friendly up in Scotland. You would think Arsenal are going to be wearing their new home kit in that game. So they might just wait and announce it the morning of that match or on Monday, perhaps. So I don't think maybe you can still see me. My screen seems to be flicking on and off at the moment for some reason. again? I'm streaming off my phone at the moment, so I don't know if you're going to be able to, if you can still hear me. Can you hear me? This might be pretty sketchy for the next minute or so, guys, if it is, because I'm streaming via 4G off my phone. Trying to find it. Ronald Desi, trying to find it. Apologies. It is a rubbish connection. This morning, this afternoon. Even if he doesn't start well, you think he's going to be under serious pressure. That starts of the season as well. When you look at the fixtures, they're not too kind. So he's going to have to get off to a good start. And you think all or nothing as well. When you think of what happened on Tottenham's one, it's I don't know. Is it a bit of a curse for a manager having Amazon following you around? A couple of them have lost their jobs so far. We need a Bobby Zamora sign-in. What? I don't even know what that means. Right, Locatelli updates. As far as I'm aware of Locatelli, unfortunately, I'd be very surprised if he ends up at Arsenal. I think he's going to end up at Juventus. It all feels like a bit of posturing for me. Arsenal are interested in Locatelli. I've still been told that they haven't actually made an offer, an official offer for Locatelli. Obviously, over in Italy, they seem to say they have, but people that I've spoken to at Arsenal say that's not the case. And although there have been talks between Arsenal and Sassuolo about him, that they haven't actually made a firm offer. They may well have told him, look, we're willing to pay this. But in terms of actually submitting an offer, what I'm told is that hasn't happened. But they are certainly interested in him. And, you know, if Juventus can't get a deal done, then it is something that could potentially happen. But still feels likely to me that he's going to end up at Juventus. And it's all, you know, Sassuolo kind of used in this Arsenal's name to get it. Oh, sorry, everyone. This is a nightmare. This is really frustrating me. I'm hoping now I'm back. I'm back and I'm on the Wi-Fi. I'm not streaming off my phone anymore. So I'm hoping I'm back now. Can you see me? Who's saying there? Brian says, can't see you, lad. Is that the case? Can you see this? Right, I think I'm back. Other people are saying I'm back. Good. Right, apologies. Right, let's get going before this cuts out again. I've got about 10 minutes left. So yeah, let's get some last few questions in. I think I've covered quite a bit so far. Any of here we go. Let's talk about these two, shall we? Edu and Arteta are crazy people, says Dixon. They can't get a single transfer completed. Look, we're getting there, Dixon. Trust me, we are getting there. Like I said, Tavares very, very close to being done now. You know, he's at London Colney today. That deal is going to be done. Lokonga, agreed in principle now with Anderlecht, and we're getting to the medical stage for him as well. So slowly but surely we are getting there. It's taken a little bit of time this summer, but you've got an awful lot of things that both of these guys have got to work on, Richard Garlick as well. In terms of getting these deals done, you've got to get players out the door as well. That's really key for Arsenal. That's Guendouzi has started now. That deal's been done. You've got to get a couple more out the door as well. Got to get Xhaka over the line. Potentially Torreira once he gets back from his holiday in Uruguay as well. Get Torreira sorted one way or the other. There's others as well. What do you do with Joe Willock? I saw someone here, I'm not sure where, was asking about Joe Willock, and you got to make a decision when it comes to Willock as well. What are you going to do with him if there is interest there still from Lights and Newcastle? Do you sell Joe Willock, or do you keep him and hope he can keep up that sort of goal scoring form he showed for Newcastle, but for Arsenal? So trust me, Dixon, Edu and Arteta, they are slowly getting there. And also Arteta, you've got to think Arteta's not the person getting these deals done. He's the manager. It's Edu and Richard Garlick are the guys getting the deals done. Yeah, why is Saliba not in pre-season? I'm not sure what's going on with Saliba. I have to say, at the moment, I don't think he's been training with the rest of the squad. I don't think he's at London Colney at the moment, from what I hear. So I think maybe they're trying to get this deal done with Marseille. Obviously, he's very close. He's close to signing for Marseille on loan. And potentially even over in France now, trying to get that one done. But there are other clubs interested in him as well, and apparently Marseille might be looking elsewhere. And so it might be a case of Saliba has to look at another club. But as far as I'm aware, he's not started pre-season yet with the rest of the squad. No news on Lacazette yet. He's back. He's not been in any of the pictures yet, but he's at London Colney. He's there today. So is Aubameyang. I expect they'll both go to Scotland on Monday for the tour. So in terms of his future, no news on that yet. Just a matter of time. So Kalu's finally going to sign for Arsenal. Just a matter of time. Jordan, I've already discussed the Ruben Neves situation earlier on in this one. Just a quick rundown on it. It's just, as far as I'm aware, it's not moved on since for a while now. It's just he's one of the midfielders on their list of targets they're interested in. They've expressed, they've spoken informally to Wolves, about his situation, but they haven't bid for him yet. Oh, where did I just saw a question I wanted to answer? It's about a right back. Oh, actually, let's talk about this. I think you're a bit harsh here on Richard Garlick. He's a very experienced guy. So what that he worked at West Brom? He's been at the Football Association. He's very, very experienced. He's got good contacts. Is very well respected in football. So I think that's pretty harsh. And they're not hiring from a Championship team. He didn't come from West Brom. He came from the Football Association. So I think that's a little bit hard. People asking about Reiss Nelson. Again, nothing's really moved forward with Reiss at the moment. I just think he needs to leave. I just think they need to do something with him. Either there's talk they're trying to get him to sign a new contract before sending him out on loan. Basically, that'd just be to protect his value. I can't imagine he'd want to sign a new contract at the moment because he's not playing. So they need to sort something out. It's just a wasted 6 months of his career last season. At the end of last season, I don't know why he didn't go out. He had the opportunity to go out in January. He didn't take it, and I think that was a major mistake. Didn't play any football, and they need to get something sorted with him this summer. What's happened to the Daniel Ek story? What's happened is that he's just rejected. Had his offers rejected by Stan Kroenke, and unless Stan Kroenke accepts, nothing else can happen with this story. It's as simple as that. Daniel Ek might be interested. He might say he's got the money. He might, have the backing of the Invincibles. But if Stan Kroenke says no, which he has done to the offer, then nothing else can happen with it. It's just that's where we are with it. Until Stan Kroenke changes his mind, or until Daniel Ek puts up a bid that is acceptable, then status quo is going to remain at Arsenal. I don't think Branislav. I don't think anything's happening with Zaha this summer. I think that's, as much as Zaha would love it, I can't see now that that he's coming to Arsenal. I think that ship may well have sailed. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I've not heard any links. I mean, I've not heard any names myself, really, for right back Arsenal. There was an interest in Hakimi, but obviously he was just far too expensive in the end, and there was far too high competition for him for Arsenal to get that deal done. There's no way they were going to financially be able to compete with PSG or even Chelsea for Hakimi. And I've not heard any other names mentioned. I'm sure they're looking, because end of last season, start of summer, I was told that right back is absolutely a priority for Arsenal. But I'm not sure what's going on with it or where we are. Does that mean that Bellerin will stay? Who knows? I personally, I still think if Arsenal can get a deal done for Bellerin this summer, they will potentially. Inter Milan do like him, but money situation might stop that happening, because Inter haven't really got much money, even though they just sold Hakimi. They're in financial ruin at the moment, really. And they want, same as Real Betis did, ideally a loan for Bellerin, and Arsenal obviously want to sell him right now. So who knows? The right back situation is very much up in the air at Arsenal as it stands. People asking about Ainsley Maitland-Niles at right back potentially. I wouldn't be against it. I think I think he can be a decent fullback, Ainsley. I think he's got the physical attributes to do it as well. Just needs to have his head in the game. But if he doesn't want to play there, then he doesn't want to play there. And that's the situation with him at the moment. He wants to play as a midfielder, and that's not going to be happening for him at Arsenal. And so you would have to say that the best option then would be for him to leave this summer. Yes, there is a slim chance of signing Madison. Arsenal are certainly interested in Madison. So I would say there is a slim chance of it happening. But I think the money it's going to cost, for me, it just feels unlikely that that's a deal they can get done this summer. But we'll have to wait and see. Who knows? They might surprise us. But they are certainly interested in Madison. I still feel now, if you're going to ask me who's more likely out of the two to sign, would it be Aouar or Madison? I think just purely because of the transfer fee involved, it would be Aouar. Changes, depending where you come from, really, I think, and if whether you can get sort of early release and how it works. And it can be a little bit different with football clubs as well. If the player's coming from a place where they've been in a kind of biosecure elite sports bubble, then sometimes they can get out straight away. So as we saw a couple of times last summer, in terms of Tavares, he arrived on Friday this time last week, and today I understand he was at London Colney for the first time, so that's a week. He's potentially been in quarantine. I don't know if that would be the same for Lokonga when he comes over. So it all sort of changes a little bit. Again, I think financially, Arsenal might end up being outmuscled when it comes to Camavinga. Lots of clubs interested in him. Depends how much Rennes are after for him as well. I've seen £30 million mentioned. I still think that would be. I'm not sure that would be enough for him, even with his contract situation. I think you might have to pay more, but it just feels like there's a few clubs potentially with more financial muscle that they can flex when it comes to get a deal done for him than Arsenal. So I'd be a little bit surprised if it ends up being Arsenal that he comes to. Yeah, I mean, Johnston's an interesting one. I've seen his name linked. I haven't heard it myself. But I think if you're looking at sort of how much they'll cost if you're going between Ramsdale and Johnston, who would you prefer? It feels like Johnston would be the more logical move to me, but who am I to say? Who should we be excited about? I don't know what you mean, Nasser. Do you mean about new signings, or do you mean anyone at the club at the moment? I think there's plenty to be excited about. I'm so excited about seeing Smith Rowe and Saka again this season. I'm really excited to see what Pepe can do, given the way he finished last season. I'm really excited about Thomas Partey this season after a full summer of rest and getting his favourite number 5 shirt. I'm expecting Partey to have a magnificent season this season. And to be honest, I'm thinking that Aubameyang's going to really score some goals this season as well, after his difficulties last season. So I think there's plenty to be excited about, and that's just players that are already here. Obviously, there could be some more coming in as well. I would be very excited if Arsenal get Aouar. If Arsenal sign Aouar, I think that would be really, really exciting. I don't know. I've not heard there is one. Karthik, there isn't one. There'll be one next week after the game on Tuesday night. against Hibernian. I presume he'll be doing a press conference then, but I don't think there's going to be. Not sure there'll be anything sort of public before that. There might be some quotes or an interview on the Arsenal website, but in terms of an actual sort of open press conference that we can all be involved in, I'm not sure that's going to be happening. Always get questions about this transfer budget, and it's just impossible for me to answer. There's just, you can't put a number on it. It all depends on how much you sell, who you sell, how much you bring in for sales, how much of that can go towards the transfer fee or the transfer budget. It depends what the Cronkies decide they can free up, from the various loans and things like that. So I just don't know. I can't put a figure on a transfer budget. I think it's decent. Look, you wouldn't be bidding £50 million for Ben White if you didn't have a relatively decent transfer budget. So there's certainly money there to be spent this summer, but I can't put a figure on it, I'm afraid. Okay, I'm going to start heading off in a minute, but if I'll just quickly pop back right at the end of this before I go to a few of the things I answered at the beginning, just for those who have joined late and so missed it, because I was going through a few of the things on that. So we'll start with Ben White. In terms of the Ben White deal, the update is there is no update. It's still as you were. Arsenal confident they can get a deal done for Ben White. They haven't had a bid accepted yet for him. Talks have been progressing well with Brighton. They are all amicable. I just think it's something we've got to wait until England are out of the Euros before this really progresses. But personally, I feel it's a deal that Arsenal will eventually get over the line for Ben White, but we're just going to have to wait until the Euros are over and for something to really happen in terms of that. Joshua, that's such a hard question. I don't know. I've been thinking about this and I've been asked this a lot. And me and some of my other journo mates who cover Arsenal have been talking about it. Who would you prefer out of those two? I'd like both, to be honest. Like I said, I think the deal for Arwar, the potential deal for Arwar is such a bargain that you've got to go and do it for me. I think he's an exciting player. Yes, he can be a bit inconsistent at times, but still he's young. You can coach that out of him. You can make him a better player. His ceiling's really high. He scores goals. He's exciting. He travels with the ball well, sets up goals. I just think it'd be a fabulous signing if Arsenal could get him for £21 million. I think you know exactly what you're going to get with Madison. Premier League proven, goals, assists, great set piece delivery. So I'd love both of them. But I think if I had a choice, maybe more thinking with about bank balance and anything else, I would say Arwar. But either of them I'd be absolutely delighted with. Right, so before I go, just quickly, what I was talking about at the start of this video, if you missed it, in terms of where we are with transfers at the moment for Arsenal, Nuno Tavares, that one's obviously pretty much done. £8 million with Benfica. He's been over here since Friday. He has been at London Colney today, which I think is the first day he's been at London Colney. So that deal is now very, very close to being confirmed and finalised. So he'll be in, and then Lokonga. I think Tavares will be travelling next week with Arsenal to Scotland for the training camp. I don't think Albert Lokonga will be. I'm told that's very much, almost impossible because of quarantine rules and isolation. But Arsenal have agreed a deal in principle with Anderlecht now. We are moving towards the medical stage. That could happen very soon, today possibly, over in Belgium, but then he needs to come over and quarantine and isolate and things like that. So I don't think Lokonga will be involved in Scotland. It's probably the first time he might be involved if everything goes smoothly, and his finalised will be the trip to America for the Florida Cup. So they're the two that are really close. I've spoken about Ben White. You're just going to have to wait, I think, until after the Euros for that one to really move forward and progress. But Arsenal still confident that they can get that deal done for him. Talked about at the beginning about Houssem Aouar. And yes, his brother, apparently his agent, Brahim, has been spotted in London. I'm not exactly sure how it works with Aouar and his people and who exactly represents him in talks. I know there's, obviously there was a lot of talk about Brahim last summer, but Aouar is also represented by Westman, so there'll be other agents involved. So I wouldn't get too excited about that just yet. Ben White, I've spoken about. Is there anyone else? Locatelli, interest there, but I still think Juventus are certainly leading the race for him at the moment, and Arsenal would only really sort of move for that if Juventus didn't get a deal done. And that's about it. So thank you very much for watching. Apologies for the little issue with the stream in the middle of that when we all cut out. I hope you thank you for sort of bearing with me and sticking through that. Apologies in advance. Hopefully next time we do one of these, it won't be quite so bad. So before I go, predictions for Arsenal in the EPL, ask Ameya. I'm going to say Arsenal are going to finish 5th next season. I would love to say top 4, but I still think they're going to be a little bit behind the top clubs in London, in England this season. I just think it'd be a big push to finish above Man City, Liverpool, Man United, and Chelsea this summer. I think it'll probably be best of the rest for Arsenal, but who knows? Hopefully, I mean, my predictions in the Euros have been so spectacularly wrong that to me predicting 5th for Arsenal, hopefully it might mean they end up winning it. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Like I said, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the sunshine. If I don't do any of these videos before Sunday, then keep those fingers crossed for England, wherever you're watching around the world. This one means an awful lot. Speak to you soon, everyone. Have a great Friday and have a fantastic weekend.